Hello, hello. Welcome to day 3 of Becoming Invincible. I am real life, whole life. This is what shows up for me as I would like to shower and be more presentable and all of that. I'm pulling up my slides, by the way, too, if you see me doing two things at once. And no, I'm going to show up real raw. And for me, this embodiment of the Siddhic frequencies, the process of showing, telling, helping the world see how to embody the Siddhic frequency, which for me is today. And this focus on the Siddhic state of invincibility. So it's a focus of this. This is the earth energy on the planet. It actually ends today. And so what I'm committed to, devoted to, determined to, which is really the gift state of this energy, is to go through each Siddhic state for the next 90 days. That's just what's showing up. I have no clue how long. My experience is embodying my methodology, embodying real life, whole life. And for me, that is the Siddhic frequency. That is the real life, whole life methodology that was starting with my root core beliefs in 2020, discovering what works for me. I'll kind of display that process, this process of methodology that I've discovered and created to help myself become unstoppable, not realizing that the path and methodology was to embody in Siddhic frequencies, Siddhic states, which again, this word may not resonate as a word. It's not commonly used in culture. It is the highest frequency state. It could also be considered heaven on earth frequency. It could also be considered enlightenment, quite honestly, you could call it that. And I simply am in the space of, I've been doing this self-discovery journey on my own, and I haven't totally landed on discovering what's real and true in comparison to what's out there. This is what I experience as real and true. And this ability to hold what's real and to hold what's whole and be able to bring the two together to real life, whole life, which I see as my path and methodology to embodying heaven on earth, which I have found it wasn't until probably a year ago that I discovered Gene Keys and started reading Gene Keys, and then was like, oh, this makes so much sense to me, and so much opened up there. So I've been leaning in and leveraging that. And so if you're watching this and you're like, what is she talking about? I'm out to create content to help you understand, help those that are curious understand what this is, as I am coming from that context, and I want to help you understand if it's not there. And we're going to take a leap in simply sharing what's showing up, so you don't have to necessarily understand it. I believe you'll still get it. And that will be content I create for another day. And with that, showing up real, here I am. I want to take a shower. I wanted to be more presentable. And for me, it's a matter of letting go of standard expectations and ideals and showing up real and raw. And this is what I got. And this is the embodiment of being invincible. This is the embodiment of, I am determined, and I'm going to take simple steps. And what has been a path where I wouldn't have consistency, which you'll see consistency isn't part of being determined, I believe at least. It's how can I create a simple step? And from there, it produces these big results. So for me this week, that's what I've been leaning into. Is how do I make this simple? And that was not showering. That's simple. Just simply hitting record and talking. What's simple is waking up and formulating a handful of slides and having it make sense and spending, 30, 45 minutes. I think I did an hour today putting slides together. And I was like, that makes sense. Okay, we're going to go as far as we can go. And really, if you watch the prior to, you'll see me start where I started on Monday, and I did a handful of slides. Then I started Tuesday and did a handful of slides. And I work all day Wednesday, so couldn't do Wednesday. And this morning woke up and did a handful more. And it's so simple. It's so easy. It's so fun. And I'm in love with what's getting created here and really see the momentum that's getting created. So I'm going to dig into this and dissect it a little bit more. And for me personally, I embodied that this week. I embodied what I talked about this week. And again, if you're catching this later, check Monday, Tuesday, or day 1, day 2 to catch more. And I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to start with day 3. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to get started. Happy day. What's coming through is Tuesday. So I don't know who you are. And that's what's coming through. Okay. So we want to zoom and share screen. and we want to share this screen, and we want to make this screen bigger. Okay, day 3, the keys to becoming invincible. Unable to be defeated, to be in power. I shared that this is the Gene Key 9, or Gene Key 9 essentially. Human Design Gate 9 is I'm leveraging that context and translating it into common language, so you don't need all the woo stuff. You can simply see the science and mechanics behind it. We talked about inertia, or this gene key, this energy is about inertia. And when you move through your shadow, what you embody is determined. And then when you move through determined, you become invincible. And that's really where real life I see as inertia and determined, and whole life is invincible. So how do we have those two come together? What I shared in the beginning was a handful, or on day 1 was 3 questions, and what that birthed and morphed into was simple. And this simple, living that simple question has been really fun for me, and will have me tidy things. Like, I'll ask the word simple, and I even just did it instantaneously with my notepad. Simple, that it's like in order. I do have a context and a background in photography and highly OCD, highly pattern recognized stuff. So that's for me. And so that may not be for you. And so much of what I'm out to do here is creating, this is what works for me. I'm out to help you what works for you. Simple, maybe not touching it. Simple, maybe walking away. Simple, maybe leaving it as it is. Simple, it's exactly as it needs to be. I get to choose what works for me. I get to choose what my environment's going to do. And if I have keys right here, if my keys exactly as they are is not a problem, then I'm going to leave them. If I would desire them to be different, then I'm going to change them. What do I desire and what's important to me? And I get to choose that freely. How can I choose that freely? How can I actually choose that? Which is something we'll get into. So either way, living inside of that question, simple, which is a TikTok I created and shared on Tuesday, or day 2. So to be in summary, for day 1, we talked about beliefs. Can't live beyond our beliefs, the direction we're headed. Are we looking in the rearview mirror? Are we looking in the rearview mirror behind us, looking at the rearview mirror of us? Or we're looking out on the transcendental horizon? And are we in drive? Are we in reverse? Or are we in neutral? And actually, how neutral is the most powerful place to be, as it gives us power of choice to see, are we actually driving in true north direction, or simply we're just driving because we've been programmed to believe we need to drive, we need momentum, I need to be determined, all these energetic needs, which I spoke on this day 2 was inertia. That I've always had this context of inertia of not moving or being stuck. And really what I see inertia, and really the definition of inertia, is that when something's headed in a direction, it needs something, the equal opposite force reaction to move it. And so we looked at the not working box, put stuff down the not working box, and then looked at the nervous system. The nervous system is our key indicator of what's working, what's not. Our body, biological biofeedback will tell us anxiety in our chest, the way we breathe, the way we think, what we have access to in our brain. Our nervous system is data, key indicator for us. And so how can we use that, leverage that biofeedback and create what works for us, and really use the shifting of frequency to move ourselves, to move from the inertia of the direction that's not working, that's leading us to disease, to this energetic of determined. And how do we shift ourselves to be in the energetic of determined? So that's just simply how we operate by default. And then we have an environment that operates us as default, as determined. And then as a result, we pop goes weasel, invincible shows up. That it's not a matter of chasing the process of being invincible. If anything, invincible is just simply the byproduct. It's walking the path long enough that invincibility shows up. It's the biofeedback of over time. It's a biofeedback over energy and effort. It's like a seed being planted. When a seed is planted, it's determined to grow. And there's a hummingbird. And is there an environment that gives that the ability to grow? And as it grows, when it becomes past a certain state, we look at all the trees, they become invincible and surviving when the seasons are the seasons and the support is the support. So there's a lot in regards to seasons that is important to me that I'll get into one day. And again, I come back to my current root core belief is invincibility is simplicity. I'm open to shifting. I want you to have your own definition. This is my current root core belief, and really see what does it look like for all of us to create our own root core beliefs. This presentation is coming from my beliefs, and I want to continue to reiterate that, so you feel free to choose and shift and embody what works for you with full power, full authority, full sovereignty when it comes to your life, your path, and what you're living. And I'm not here to preach at you. I'm preaching to myself. I'm here to share what I've discovered. I'm here to share my path that I use, and have you take and pick and choose and create what works for you. And I believe I've cheat code hacked a handful of things that can be copy paste, use it for you. And if you copy and paste what works for me, I would appreciate if you leverage it and share that it was from me that you discovered it. That's what shows up for me, just simply sharing. Okay, I'll let that go. Either way, as you may know or may not know, I am Jenna Michelle, and today I am here and I'm committed, determined, and devoted to being unstoppable and experiencing this 3-day pattern of presenting that is like, oh, I'm so unstoppable. The biofeedback is really exciting. And I have a lot of proof, 37 years of proof that I am not. And I also see that in many ways it's inevitable. It is happening for me. Everything's happening for me. I am unstoppable. I am an unstoppable force. Am I finally believing it as true? Or am I creating stuff in my head that has to be different? So I've been sharing this every day, that with our full presence, we partner and co-create invincibility. And so I'm saying my unstoppable, invincible best is committed to providing you all I know and understand and believe in the most simplistic way. I've created this presented conversation with the desire for you to embody the acidic states of invincibility always and in all ways. It is an experience beyond language, and so my words will fall short, and I will give you my best and believe together we are invincible. Okay, so what do we got next? We got, are you ready to take a leap with me today? The leap is stopping. The leap is being with the root core beliefs that we have, no matter the case. The leap opens us up to discovery. And when we're open to discovery, we discover shifts, safety, and support. Again, I mentioned nervous system. We're in a heightened nervous system state because we have yet to discover safety in our body. We've yet to discover support that actually supports our whole human, the full expression, our real life. Not having someone come at us with judgment, expectations, standards, ideals. Someone that says, you're a brilliant badass, you are a genius, you are unstoppable, you are invincible, you are these things. And your real life is experiencing some of these. So how can we shift you into that? And the leap of stopping is the way that we find that. It's also called the void. I can't remember if I mentioned it later. This space between all and nothing, this space between real life, whole life. It's called the void. It is a whole scary thing for your nervous system. And the leap of stopping is where we do discover shifts, support, and safety. And then when we discover in our body, we become unstoppable, because once we discover something as true in our body and not our brain, you can't change it. I mean, you can change it. I'm going to actually do a little riff on this because this actually opens up a lot. So is it working or not working? We'll talk about true north today. Radical alignment is what I call it, and just having this embodied alignment. So when you discover something in your body and it is your resonant truth, you won't want to get rid of it. When you have something in your body that's an experience that's not working, you want to get rid of it. And we have yet to be equipped. We've yet to be able to stop. We've yet to be able to get to neutral, to be able to actually be with what's there and be with the void and be with what needs to shift, so that I shift out of what's not working into what does work. And sometimes that's a process. I mean, always that's a process. And once you embody it, it expands you to more and more. And you have more breath and more ability to breathe deeper and safer. And this environment starts to support you because you are the one that's safe, and you go with you always, and you create an environment that's safe. And you discover what that looks like, and you discover what you need, and you discover all these things. So it's all about discovering. My nervous system really liked that one, by the way. A lot of biofeedback in my nervous system when I find things that are safe. Okay. Our beliefs create our energy. To begin, we have to, I do not like that word, by the way. To begin, I typed it in there, so I'm just going to take responsibility of that. The have to. No, we don't have to. You're rocking it today. You're already rocking it. You can have the judgment in your brain and you're still breathing. You're still eating. You're still able to access the internet. You're still able to have the time and space to watch this. Not that people who can't don't have that. It's just simply to have any consumption of expanding our wellness is a very, very, very privileged state. So we don't have to do anything. And I want to edit that out. So I'm going to say that. To begin, expanding our awareness of our beliefs expands our awareness of the energy. So I'm not sure exactly how to edit that to make it make sense. It's just simply to begin here. I believe that's what it, to begin, I believe we need to expand, or we would want to, if there's a, so language is so important to me. You'll see me edit myself all the time because I'm like, what is actually true? I believe if we desire to embody the acidic frequencies, expanding our awareness of our beliefs expands our awareness of the energy, which gives us capacity to see where are we actually at on the spectrum. Are we in inertia, headed in a direction that's not true north? Are we in our gift state and actually determined and actually experiencing some of the gift of being determined and having that experience? Having simple actions showing up and us doing them and not stopping like I'm experiencing this week. And or have we actually begin to feel in our body this belief of I'm inevitable. I can't be stopped. Okay. So I believe when we are our lowest common denominator self, which is that shadow frequency, we actually get to be authentic. And then we get to actually see our beliefs. We get to actually examine what's real. We get to actually see what is creating this energy, because we have this wild ability as humans to disassociate. My brain and my body can do two different things. My brain in my head can create one world and my body can create another, and they can be at war with each other. Or I can just simply be all in my head and completely ignore my body, which I believe is where the majority of disease comes from. We're not able to be our lowest common denominator self and actually be with what's in our body. And so we're unable to be authentic. And so we have all this energy up here and we're doing our best. And I believe for those who are neurodivergent, this is where masking comes in. To be authentic, well, to be in our body. And that's, I see as an experience of being all out, like all our nothing out experience, which I see as the most powerful place that we can be, is just when we're nothinged out and allowing our nervous system to be there, to in many ways be depressed, to have deep rest is how I've heard it said, because we've lived as a society, culture, generationally without rest for a long time. We've lived as machines. And so the need to be the lowest common denominator self and actually be human, to be authentic, to see the real energy that is for many depressed, and learn how to actually be in that shadow space powerfully so that we actually can reach what's needed to actually take action and steps forward, which again is simplicity. So that's a whole world there. And again, as always, ask questions. Coming back to the root core belief I preach always, those with ADHD can always do what they're authentically interested in. If you're not ADHD, not neurodivergent, you enjoy my content, I would say be sure to get assessed for ADHD and or any neurodivergent spectrum thing. And also, do you want an authentic, fully, radically authentic life? If so, keep watching and keep learning. And this process of unmasking is really what I see real life whole life is, process of unmasking and really getting to be with what's authentically true, being your lowest common denominator self and discovering what works for you. Okay. And this is the key, I believe, to shifting out of inertia, which isn't necessarily shifting out of inertia, because we're always going to be in inertia. So maybe there's a shift there too, shifting out of inertia that's not true north. And the leap in faith, I like to do the shift too, because they'll be like, have faith, or the leap of faith. No, have a leap in faith. We're all leaping, we're all stopping, we're taking this leap and doing it powerfully, that I'm doing this in faith. I'm in discovery mode, leaping into nothing, which really I see faith is discovery mode, actually being awake and aware enough to see what's showing up. I'm walking in faith, not by sight. And if something shows up, I want to see it. So there's an ability to actually see. So leap in faith into nothing, into neutrality is how I see it, into the void, allows us to see our beliefs, our program, and to inspect if it's working or not, so we can choose. We can truly choose. We actually are empowered to choose. I'm also working on shifting the word you out of my language, because depending on your context, if you know me or don't know me, will change how you hear that word. If you know and love me and I talk at you and you know the unconditional love between us, I can say you all day, and you'll hear the empowering context behind it. If you don't know me and you're in the discovery of who I am and the unconditional love that I bring, you could be very accusatory, because your beliefs would not necessarily believe that I'm saying that you're perfect. And so there's a defense when you hear you. If you know me, you know my over and over again of like, you're perfect. Your program. And you're like, yeah, my program. If it's truly working for you, you're like, yeah. And then if we don't have that depth of connection, then that's something that's there. So I'm working on shifting the word you out, as I just brain program does that autopilot. Okay. Our beliefs are embodied. And I see this, like how I say it, embodied. The word embodied has never made sense to me. And how I see it now is in our body. Embodied is in our body. So our beliefs are embodied. They're down here. When we act, we discover those beliefs. And we only see what we believe. This is actually science. Reticular activating system, if you want to look into it. How you only see what you believe. For example, the whole car thing. If you get a new car, you all of a sudden see them everywhere. Your subconscious is programmed to your beliefs. So that's what you see, and then that's what you create, and that's what you walk. And so that's why also being with the beliefs and being the lowest common denominator and actually seeing there's no problem here. My life is a reflection of what I believe. How can I see what I don't like? Love it unconditionally and say, this is beautiful. It got me here. I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. That's all that matters. Check. I've done life perfectly. And not that not breathing isn't doing it perfectly. It's simply as I have today. All there is for me to do is breathe. Everything else is a bonus. So if I'm breathing, I check, I've passed. And that is life. Like that's how I see it. If you're not breathing, you would not have life. This is breath of life. That's all that's necessary. Everything else is a bonus. So reticular activating system, Google it, research it if you're interested. And you can take me for what I'm saying here and simply saying it is the biological, biochemical reaction in your body that has you see what you believe. And it's something that we can leverage with my path and methodology. And this is how I see being invincible. Simple. We can't live beyond our beliefs. So how do we leverage them to embody the gift state of this energy, to be determined? Another root core belief of mine is how you do anything is how you do everything. That's why I believe being invincible is simple. Because if I do this here, that's a belief. It goes with me everywhere. Does this work? How can I take the simplest of areas and begin to inspect it? One for me is a morning routine. How do I treat myself with a morning routine? How do I see the morning routine? What biochemical reaction in my body when I say the word routine? How do I get super hyper aware of all these things to be able to shift into what's actually true and leverage simple spaces like the bananas on your counter? How can I leverage the bananas on my counter to discover what I actually believe inside of me? Because everything is pointing to a belief. And instead of waiting until shit hits the fan, how do I use the most basic things to discover me and discover what's true? And if it's in alignment, to use that and be like, I love this. I love this. Discovering parts of self that you can copy paste into other areas. It's a whole other topic I'll get into one day too. Part of the Real Life Whole Life methodology. So this actually is starting for me to begin to present the Real Life Whole Life methodology. If you're on my YouTube channel, actually it's private. I do have a very old presentation that I did that was puking out way too much information at once. So I'm learning how to regulate that, and I would love your biofeedback if this was still too much. We'll see. All that to say, these bars here is my path and methodology, and there's science behind each of these. What I want to say is the first three is all that matters to get started. These would be great to share. And until there is an embodiment of the gift frequencies, it's simply just head knowledge that you can't leverage. So we want root, flow, fire, which I'll go to this next thing, which is our beliefs, which is our actions, which are discovery. There's a discovery of self that has to start first before you can start playing around with the next level. So this is stage one. of the Real Life Whole Life methodology. And to keep it simple, I'm going to simply only go there today. And maybe one day I'll share the whole process and give you the context and perspective, because I do believe the whole process is helpful, and I want to keep it simple today. So root, flow, fire, this is in alignment with the energetic systems in our body. So science, and I know this is Eastern science, so there's a hard time sometimes with that with our Western world. So you can take what you wish, do what you wish with it. And for me, this is what I've been living into 2 years, had me have full-blown enlightenment experience and now walk in this real life, whole life methodology enlightenment experience, which is wild to me. So discovered it by accident. Thank you, Jesus, because that's primarily the route that I walked in, and Jesus helping me to discover the chakras in the Bible. So that's a whole nother topic that I get off on, and I'm going to let that go. Okay, root, flow, fire, beliefs. We talked about this a lot. What do we believe? I also see for me here is the circle that we're in, like our aura is actually how I see it energetically too, if you're into that. And my beliefs impact my energy. And so how can I look into my circle and see what's at my feet and see what's around me? Those are my beliefs. Everything else, yes, is a reflection of my beliefs, as within, so without. And how can I start with my little aura first? How does my aura look? What's inside of my circle? Those are my beliefs that I want to focus on. I can worry about all the rest later, and I go with me always. So that will change in different spaces. And it helps me also detach from, for example, like my garage. My garage is a hot mess. Those aren't my beliefs right now. My beliefs are right here. And so then I can stretch out and grow, and eventually get to my garage from an embodied space when this is an empowering space. And sometimes, you get a left field idea and you just tackle it all at once. Cool. And I'd rather create the growth of a tree and grow out this way than trying to shock my system, which is what I would do if I did that currently. Okay, so we got root, then we got flow, which is your action, and then fire, which is where I guess what I want to say is the distinction there too. If I were to push myself and clean my garage, awesome, nothing wrong with that. Going to have an impact on my nervous system. It is not in a flow state. When the action is simple, there's a flow state that's there. And what we want to do is discover fire, which is for the ADHD brain, I see as dopamine and how our brains and bodies were designed. So what is our beliefs? I'm taking action in alignment with my beliefs. And then from there, like even to like inevitability, or invincibility is simplicity. So that root core belief is simple. That's a root core belief. So I'm asking a question inside of that invincibility. I guess the thing is you need to discover the beliefs and the questions that then support that belief to help you live inside of that question. Sorry, I just discovered that out loud and I'm going to say it again. Discover your beliefs. My belief, root core belief, can't live beyond what you believe, as within, so without. Can't live. I did all the there's a handful that I say all the time. Oh, those with ADHD can't live beyond what they believe, always doing what they're authentically interested in. Those are root core beliefs. So with the root core belief, I then need a root core question that I operate as I believe. One, in other words, lives the questions. That's one of my root core beliefs. And so if I have a question, that's what I'm living into. I'm always living into a question. So if I'm able to see my beliefs, create the questions in alignment with that, I then get to walk in flow. Simple? Expansion, all that stuff. And then when I walk in flow, I'm going to get biofeedback of discovery, and the discovery is fire. And then we get to see, and I'll give you a little taste. This green is love. So what you really want is, I guess that's necessary. So the green is love. It's your heart center. So when you discover the energy of root core beliefs, literally what you're standing in, your feet, root core beliefs, childhood energy, take action in alignment with your gut, what you would have is a flow state, and then discover fire, which is your solar plexus. And when that is happening, is the biofeedback love in your heart, or is it not? And it's like a weird feeling. Okay, get back to beliefs, play around with beliefs, discover the action, you'll discover fire. Does it burn you and hurt, or does it burn you and light you up? And doing that enough times over, you eventually get radically aligned to your purpose, which is the end of the context with that. So anyways, this is part of a process. It is a discovery process. That's where the leap is necessary. And the next series of 3 show up once there is momentum, which is actually really helpful. Because that gives me this center spot right here, which is love. Sorry, Hank's just chewing on himself there, so I got distracted. So when there's momentum, when you have this space in your heart center that's filled with love, then you can tackle this next section, which is where I really see being an embodied business and really beginning to leverage these. And there's such a deep discovery of self that's needed, which is what I've done for 2 years. And so when I walked my journey path for 2 years of this whole thing of like, I have this theory of becoming unstoppable, and this is an unstoppable process. And if I take these actions, and then to have that experience of what I did, literally enlightenment, and then leading me into a mental health facility where I discovered they do not have resources when it comes to root core beliefs, subconscious, nervous system, all this stuff. Like I literally discovered this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so wild. And so I'll go on a little side tangent here just to capture it publicly. That's why for me, this is actually going to move me. That's why for me. Look at me here. That's why for me, when I was in the mental health box, just what I'm going to call it, laying there with the electrical emergency that I was having with my nervous system. I had one point in time, my heart felt like it was going to explode, and I was outside. I walked to the bathroom, and 3 security guards were behind me, and I literally fell on my hands and knees, and I go, I feel like a bomb, I feel like a bomb, I feel like a bomb. Like, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Can I please crawl to my room? It hurts when you touch me. Like, I just felt like everything on me was exploding. And there was a tech guy in front of me, and I just look at him like, oh, please, can I please crawl? It hurts so bad in my body. And they then pick me up, drag me, and throw me, and my whole body was on fire, and I hurt so bad. Every single thing in my body hurt. And so when they picked me up and threw me, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to make it out. Because I'd already been having these electrical emergencies. I'm literally laying there with my nervous system convulsing, having this electricity in my body from my nervous system being reset, being on a sound table and then going floating, and all this energy releasing in my body. It was really wild. So all that to say, I sat there and I looked up in the camera because I'm like, I'm not going to make it out. I have no clue where I'm at. I have a case against me that says I'm gravely disabled, a threat to myself and everyone else. No one's told me what's happening to me. I have no clue how long I'm going to be here. And I now believe I'm in solitary confinement for the rest of my life because I have a case that my mom and my sister's names are on that says I'm gravely disabled, a threat to myself and everyone else. And this is what we do to people who are insane. So we put them in a box. And so I was just like, I'm going to die in here. So I looked at the camera and I recorded my path and methodology. I recorded everything I knew. It's June 1st today too. So there's simply I'm coming up on the 1-year anniversary. So to record this today, it's so huge because I've known this. I've been so excited to share, and the trauma and the pain of what has happened because I went into a psych box and had a case against me that says I was gravely disabled. The Lacey fire chief put a protection order against me because he didn't want me talking about this publicly. So I didn't have my First Amendment for 6 weeks. I haven't been able to talk about publicly, and taking on a public official is really scary, especially when it's someone you know and love. And people are committed to misunderstanding me. And I just come back to my faith. They murdered Jesus. So when you hit enlightenment, there's a world that doesn't really understand you. And thanks be to Jesus, I'm autistic, so I'm used to this. I know what it's like to be misunderstood. I know what it's like to be outcast. I know what it's like. And thanks be to Jesus that I have 144,000 followers on TikTok. So while I have a degree of isolated loneliness, I doubt myself so much. I now have a degree of support in my life that's like testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm really excited to talk publicly because I make a ton of sense for those that are neurodivergent. I make a ton of sense for those that are struggling and being destroyed by the system. I make a ton of sense, and I'm not going to stop talking. I'm going to keep talking about my thing. I just thank you for letting me go there, because in my body I have massive trauma because I had a near-death experience trying to talk about this. I was literally jumping up and down saying I solved ADHD. I had all my books. I had everything I've been learning. I was trying to give this presentation when I was having an altered state of consciousness because everything just made sense all at once. And so now I'm regulated enough with my nervous system using my own methodology the past year. So the degree of how much I trust this methodology is like in my bones. Like I did it for 2 years. I had a major traumatic event and I've done it for another year. And I'm like, I'm ready. Put me in, coach. We've got this. I believe this wholeheartedly. And so getting to say it publicly for the first time and having it make sense and not having it as a traumatic experience for me is really, really helpful. So I'm going to keep going. Thank you for listening to my little TED Talk there. And that is one of my desired things, is to give a TED Talk. Did I close it? Pages, music, nope. Oh, here we go. Okay, come back. Thank you for not letting me. I appreciate your listening. Okay, we've got this, and we need to share screen. I love you all so much. Okay. There. So Really Full Life. This is part of a process. It is a discovery process. And then the next series of 3 show up once there's momentum. And that's where I'm at now. When there is an embodied experience of the acidic state, which is the highest frequency, which in this one is invincible, and consistency around that gift state, which in this one was determination, you've discovered the power to tap into to break free from inertia. So what's beautiful is you get to discover these things and then you can leverage them and tap into them. So then you're like, oh, I'm experiencing inertia I'm experiencing inertia. When it's true north, you're not going to want to change it. Break free from inertia that you're wanting to change would simply be headed in a direction that's not in alignment. I now know that. For example, my not working bucket, it's not a trigger for me because I'm like, of course it's not working. I've got inertia and my root core beliefs don't support this. So I got a discovery to do. I get rooted in my beliefs. I take action in alignment. Is there something simple here? No, there's nothing simple here. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not interested in my taxes. I feel like I need to stop talking about it publicly. All that to say, that's where I'm at. Okay, this is the Real Life Whole Life methodology. How to hold the void, the space between all or nothing. I'm a brilliant badass or I'm a hot mess express. That's me. And I've learned to hold the middle, being able to be with duality, having 2 truths be true at the same time, which is not easy. What I experience is hell on earth, which is duality. When you only have access to one, you can't hold 2 truths. And my path and methodology is what I've experienced as heaven on earth, where you can hold both and you can walk down the middle way. And when you walk in the middle way, you discover love, you discover your truth, you discover your alignment, and you begin to discover this radically aligned experience, which is now for me, divine alignment, because it led to enlightenment for me. I believe momentum starts when our root core beliefs create action that give us feedback of flow. So that's where I got there. Also, my nervous system did a whole little thing. It really liked that. Subconscious nervous system linked together is very strong. And so I have a lot of biofeedback with that. Okay, what I see as the embodiment of our true self and purpose, being in the body and not the brain, and having the experience of peace, love, and joy in the momentum of that. It just upward spiral. I don't have this here. I'm just going to make note of it. There is an energetic vortex feeling. There's a positive, like going up energetically and going down energetically. That's something I want to leverage. I'm not going to mention it here. And that is something that I find very, 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 very valuable. I'll probably link it in the show notes so you can peek at that. Nope, I find it so valuable. I'm just going to Google it now because that's how valuable I find it. And if you've already listened to my story, this is what I believe. I told you I was giving you my best. So here we go. 2 seconds. Let me find this. It is. Let's see here. There we go. The emotional guidance scale. One moment. Okay, we're going to share. New share. Go here. Okay, share this guy. So when I talk about momentum, this is what I'm talking about. There's a distinction of boredom and contentment that I want to look at. What I also see is neutral. Really, what I see here is neutral. Here's reverse. Here's drive. If I'm not first content, the energetic force the drive forward could be driven by blame, anger, hatred, all this stuff. The thing is, if this exists in me in a certain area, I can drive forward as hard as I want. And all I'm going to do is snap back to that. I can pretend all I want. And if I'm pessimistic, pessimism's going to show up. The thing is, it's also energetic. So for me, there's an experience of what am I connected to in my brain? And that's going to create, like, there's certain areas where I am pessimistic, not a problem. I discover that. How do I get to neutral and create newly and begin to work towards the energetics of hopefulness, optimism, all kind of stuff, and not even work towards the allowance of pessimism so that it transcends and moves out, so that I am able to access hopefulness. So I'll go into this more. I just want to also share this here so you can Google the emotional guidance scale, as this is where like neutral is here, the void, being able to hold true, too true. I have passion and doubt, not a problem. I'm in the void. I'm working on the doubt, clearing the doubt so that the passion is more powerful. That whole thing. Enthusiasm. I have so much enthusiasm. I also have anger, not a problem. How do I get to neutral? So that I'm leaning more into the drive and leaning more into that and being really, 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 really present to what's having me reverse. And sometimes I need that. I'm just going to say it this way. Sometimes you drive down a direction that doesn't work. You need that reverse to get you out. Doubt and fear and jealousy and all this stuff is not a bad thing. It's biofeedback. So not being able to judge yourself is huge because you're just simply getting energetic feedback. All emotion is energy in motion. I'm simply getting biofeedback. My nervous system, my energy, it's biofeedback to root core beliefs that I didn't put in there. If I haven't already told y'all the experience of you were born in this world as a meditative state, and I think I did, right? I'm trying to do a new share. You're born in this world in a meditative state, and the combination of the 7 people that you know for the first 7 years, the closest people to you. So yeah, you're just discovering the energy that's trapped in your body, not your brain. It's just trapped in your brain. It's just the biofeedbacks in your body. So either way, that's what I got. What is momentum not? So we're talking about momentum. I want to start with what is momentum not. I want to share, for me, I believe, forced movement is not true momentum. True momentum is effortless. As I see, this is the new paradigm. This is rooted in the nervous system. This is rooted in peace, love, joy, harmony. True momentum is unstoppable. And so if it's forced, that's not a degree of unstoppableness. That's a degree of like nervous system shock. Yes, there is something that you need to do to break the inertia, and there's no momentum until you actually have a handful of steps. So I'm going to acknowledge that to break inertia, you do need a energetic switch and swap to be able to break that. And once broken, that's not momentum. Momentum is once you break it and you focus on, is this simple? And from there, you begin to build momentum, and that begins to create this churn. I will also say it's not consistency. Do what works for you today. Doing the same thing over and over on autopilot is not, I believe, a life that we're called to. I believe we're called to variety. I believe we're called to experience. I believe if I'm a robot that does everything consistently is not momentum. I can shift and change it. What's the essence of what I'm wanting to do? Yes, for me, I desire to have consistency with this presentation. Cool. That's the thing is, I also want to do it with creativity. So I don't want to say I wake up and do this 30 minutes every day and do the presentation 30 minutes every day. And that's what I do. We need innovation. The first iPhone is still not the first iPhone. It's the 13th iPhone. You create a first version and you upgrade and change it. What's challenging is when we go robotic and we create consistency, when we have momentum, we have no access to self-expression. We have no access to this creative force inside of us that's always evolving. And I believe this is where a lot of those who are neurodivergent get really, 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 really stuck, because our culture preaches consistency because they want you to be a robot. My thing is create, which I actually call too with I've gotten language around too, the first final. This is my first final. This is my second final. This is my third final. Whenever I have something produced and completed, that's my final. And I can upgrade it every single time. This is the first version of this iPhone. I'm going to get an upgraded version when I discover something better. And I'm always going to be discovering something better compared to what I did was wrong. No, what I did just didn't work for me anymore. I upgraded it. Now I've got a better version of, I'm always doing my best. And do I want to evolve it to be even better? So that's what I got there. And then what is momentum? The definition is the quantity of motion of a moving body measured by its product of its mass and velocity. So much like inertia, I see momentum the same way. We all have momentum in one direction. And is it our true north? The results we are looking for come by way of shifting into the energetics of determination with awareness of our true north. So shifting into those energetics is what we need. We're going to have inertia, which is going to be movement that's not in our true north. Inertia towards our true north, we're not even doing this because inertia towards our true north leads to invincibility, which we're not even factoring. We're just moving. It's when we have this energetic disharmony with our true self that all of this awareness is coming up to be looked at. What I want to also say is present awareness. So the determination of awareness of our true north. My computer might die. We're going to keep tracking. We got 10%. Okay, present awareness, where I want to bring this in. This is what I believe is neutrality, and it's the space to choose our experience. So for me, present awareness, how I've defined it, which I'd invite you all to define for yourself, is, for me, present awareness is the experience of truth, love, discovery, and harmony. The truth, I believe, also my truth, the whole thing I said, my truth plus your truth comes together and we create an agreement around our truth. Does this work together, or is it simply not in harmony and we don't have alignment and we're able to go our own ways in love and discover that we are not in alignment? It's not a problem. There's a bazillion people on the planet. There are people in resonance with you. There is always a falling away when you're shifting, especially when you're raising your vibration. There's always a falling away. It's not bad or wrong. What I got to see yesterday in a meme was that those you love can't grow with you, and being able to see that they can shift with you, and this force on them that they need to grow will circumvent the whole experience of what actual evolution is, because it's ease and effortless, and it's that benevolent force, which we'll get into and ask questions there if that doesn't translate. Okay, truth. I believe also, my truth is that we are our beliefs and we cannot live beyond our beliefs. That is my belief. So if you too believe this as truth, you will experience resonance, which give you feedback and the feeling of alignment. That's what we want to feel in the present moment. This creates agreement, making it more true. So true north to me would be living in alignment with my divine design, radically aligned to truth. If that's your truth, you're going to have resonance with me here. If that's not your truth, you're going to be like, this girl crazy. Cool. Go enjoy your vibration. Go enjoy your energetic signature on the planet with people who are in alignment with you. Go freely. Enjoy your life. And I would request that you not make me a problem. And I request that you would get to neutrality, because obviously that's not neutrality. And I request that you'd be open to experiencing and taking a leap to see what's actually true here. True beliefs about me with those in resonance. That's what I'm out to create. My truth, that's how I see it, is truth. Truth is true resonance. Truth is true resonance and true beliefs about me with those in resonance. That's what I see as truth. Love. I believe faith is still needed as we gather more proof of the benevolent force that is working all things together for good. There is a need for faith in a benevolent force to have the capacity to discover that there is a benevolent force working all things together. If you do not have a belief in a benevolent force, there's no capacity to discover a benevolent force. You have to have a belief in it to create it. And so there's a faith in a benevolent force that's needed to be able to discover it. And the discovery, due to how I experienced this as constructed, there is a belief in me and what I am sharing that can help you in this in-between, help me in this in-between. That's where I see the discovery of the present moment. You can discover firsthand, or you can discover vicarious through me. That's one of the gifts of following my content. You can discover vicariously through me as a big old bird flies through my window. Firsthand discovery creates the most momentum. And you're welcome to leverage my discovery too. Okay, harmony. I believe we all have an innate knowing and desire for harmony and for all that is wrong in the world to be made right. With a connection to this drive, the concept of miserable gets created. Without the desire for harmony, there is no disharmony. I believe this is our true north. And so what is present awareness to you? That's something you want to reflect on. You can pause here if you want to check that out. And I believe present awareness is truth, our true north, the experience of harmony. I also believe it's radical alignment to our true self and purpose, which is what the embodiment and process and whole thing of Real Life Whole Life is helping you become radically aligned to your true self and purpose, and specifically positioned for those with a brain like mine. Okay, we're gonna keep trucking. So are you headed true north, which I see as present awareness? Being able to stop and see my little circle and be able to choose. That's how I see it. And the key indicator is flow, no resistance, and heart expansion. This growth, always growing, always evolving, always expanding. I believe We can know when we are not radically aligned to our true north, as we will experience disharmony, disease, and decay, or what some would call the experience of being miserable. As within, so without. This is my path, and this is what my path and methodology is all about. Discovering what works for you so you can radically align to your true self and purpose. Free to choose that which is in harmony, ease, and wellness, and also aware of what is in harmony, ease, and wellness. There's a degree of discovery needed to be able to know who you are, and that experience of empowerment. And there's a degree of, if you haven't had empowerment, how do we get an environment for you so that's something you do have access to? Invincible movement. How do we create an environment for you where that is something you get the biofeedback of? Present awareness. If you've never had it before, how do you discover and learn that? How do you see that there is a choice? This is all discovery. It's not our template process. Like, we're not templated this way. There's a lot of momentum that needs to head in the opposite direction for a good while before it happens. And I believe momentum starts at our feet, our beliefs. Empowerment, determination, unstoppable, invincible movement, present awareness, choice. I think I was supposed to delete that one up. That was supposed to be deleted. I believe momentum starts at our feet, our belief. There's the pretty one. I start with that, and then I do that, and I didn't delete it out. So there you go, behind the scenes. Again, real life, whole life methodology, getting rooted in our belief, taking action in alignment with that belief, or we're always like, these are already always happening. How do I get to present awareness so that I'm inspecting the feedback? And is it love or is it disharmony? And being able to see that biofeedback, which I'm really seeing is, this inside of the green is something that's showing up newly. Okay, this is how I see being invincible as simple. We can't live beyond our beliefs. So how do we leverage them to embody the gift state of this energy, to be determined, to be yourself and create present awareness and then discover shifts, safety, and support for that which is not in alignment with your true north. So we kind of mentioned that already, just culmination there. And I see present self awareness, and digging into the concept of self is a whole nother presentation I want to get into. I can't even try to do it today. I also only have 9% battery, so we're running out. And I'm seeing what's simple is getting a charger for my laptop on this thing because I don't want to move us around. Either way, self for me, the definition of self and the way I see it for created real life, whole life is simple, easy, love, and fun. And really come down here to simple, and that's self. Self is simple. And being able to see that, and really the duality of self is simple, and it's also the most complex thing you can get. So you're never going to reach the end of it. And being able to deconstruct what that even means is another thing. All that to say, present self-awareness is for me this awareness of, is it simple? Is it easy? Is it fun? Is it love? That whole thing. And I also believe a regulated nervous system is the biofeedback of our true north. And mention too what I believe around self-awareness, truth, love, discovery, harmony, experiencing and responding to present self-awareness, and then asserting the feedback from that, and assessing and asserting the feedback from that action. If the feedback is not in alignment with yourself, there is something to shift, support, or create safety with. This is where the keys come in, which are questions. What are my root core beliefs, and what are the questions I'm going to live inside of that? Which for this packaged presentation was, is there a simple step here? What is the smallest step here? Or simply that simple question that I was talking about, or others that you've created for yourself. So to summarize, I believe inertia is still momentum. And if you do not have a momentum in the direction of your true north, there is energy needed to shift your inertia. As I really see, if your inertia is true north, you're invincible. There's no shifting needing to happen. You're unstoppable. This shift is simple, and it may require you to borrow someone's energy, support. I'm really big on borrowing energy, leveraging other people's energy to help break inertia. And sometimes that can simply be, hey friend, I'm going to audio clip you. You can leverage someone's energy without them even ever listening to you. Like, that's how wild energy is. You can tap into someone's energy just by voice clipping them. Well, you can always do that to me. Like, always, just know that. And Real Life, Whole Life, that Facebook group, or messaging me directly, you'll benefit from me not even responding. And if I'm able to respond, you will always get that from me. So just know, benefit, bonus, you shift by sharing that. And if you like sharing that, you're going to discover what shows up in you. If you share it and then if you share it and I didn't reply, then you're going to get to discover your root core beliefs. And how do you actually be in with that? Because then you can empower yourself there. And that's what I'm really wanting you to be, self-empowered, self-healer, and not need me. And I'm a bonus. I'm so excited to cheer you on and momentumize you and bring all my enthusiasm to you to just really expand that heart space to really take you to the next level and be energetic support for you. So when you discover your simple action towards your true north, you can build the momentum to embody determination that will lead you to your highest frequency, which is invincibility. I believe invincibility comes by way of simplicity. You're only as good as the simplicity of your first step. That is a root core belief that I have. You're only as good as the simplicity of your first step. All of the not working bucket, I'm only as good as the simplicity of my first step. There's something there that is missing when it comes to a simple step. So now it's a system that doesn't work. So that's a whole other topic. Okay, I meant to delete that picture out of me and you got 2 of them now. Okay, are you ready to become invincible with me? You can join my momentum and my movement towards becoming unstoppable. I'm on a mission to have the world work for the neurodivergent brain and believe this happens when we see how simple it is to embody our gifts and shift into higher and higher frequencies and experiencing acidic states or the heaven on earth frequency. And again, I'm Jenna here at Real Life Whole Life. And if you've got any questions, reach out to me in the Real Life Whole Life Facebook group. And to complete, I was and still am committed, determined, and devoted to giving you my unstoppable, invincible best. And I believe together we expand our capacity to become unstoppable by providing what we believe and what I believe are the keys and codes in the path of embodying the acidic state of invincibility. I believe the embodiment of momentum with our awareness to our true north, a regulated nervous system, leaves us empowered and in action, breaking through all inertia or resistance that's not within our alignment to our true north, creating us as unstoppable. And if you desire to take this further and discover the shift, safety, and support to move through that which is in alignment to your true north, join me in the Magical Misfits where we can support you more specifically. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the completion of my first masterclass presentation. Please be sure to subscribe here on YouTube. More to come. I do plan to create this probably 3 a week in regards to the acidic frequency of the current energy that is used on the planet for grounding to earth. So if you are woo, I got lots there. If you are not woo, I got so much more because you really don't need to be woo. I just simply bring it in to help those that are leverage this from that context because I believe that's where we're all headed and we'll eventually all get there. And I was unlikely woo. I had no woo before. So I want to really create this intentionally for those that are not interested in the astrology, all that kind of stuff. I want to create the science and mechanics around spirituality and around energy and around all this and break it down specifically ABC. So you can leverage it now and you don't need to even insert any of the world. You can join us later or never. Like I want to give you all of it now. So that's what shows up for me here as I deconstruct and dissect all that's my beliefs are as I can discover out loud now what's actually there and what I need to stop accounting for and what I can't account for. So I just produced a bunch. So I had a belief. It is simple. I want to create this. I did all this stuff. Now I've been in a flow state with it. Now I'm in discovery. And now I'm out to see what's in the bucket of love, what needs to go, what felt good, what didn't feel good. How did my nervous system do? Now I'm in that dissecting phase because I have the biofeedback of essentially 3 to be able to really get a template of what's here. You can always dissect 1 and it's just helpful when you get a little bit more than 1. You can get more clarity around that. Okay, I'll talk forever. My battery's going to die and I've got a call in a few minutes. So I love you all. Have an awesome day. Forever and always. And. Now we go. Okay, there we go.